Okay, welcome to Meet Your Monsters. My name is Abram Macon. I'm here with Kathleen.
Hi.
My friend Colby.
Hey.
My friend Matt.
Hi.
Special guest Jilly here tonight
Hello.
for the Terror Meter. For you at home, Meet Your Monsters is a podcast in which I show my friends horror movies that I love, and we find out if they can overcome their fears and join me in the darkness, or if they are a bunch of punk bitches and think my taste in movies sucks. How's everybody doing?
I'm nobody's bitch.
Yeah.
I'm too long. I'm nobody's bitch. Remember that? Okay. Tonight's movie is the 2007 film Trick or Treat, written and directed by Michael Dougherty and starring Brian Cox, Anna Paquin, Dylan Baker, and Leslie Bibb. Still yourself, ladies and gentlemen, as Matt horrifies us with a sinister synopsis.
Alright, a creepy, darkly comic celebration of the scariest night of the year. Trick or Treat takes the creepshow / Tales from the Crypt approach to nefarious new depths with 4 interwoven tales set on Halloween night. A high school principal moonlights as a vicious serial killer. The quest of a young virgin for that special someone takes a gruesome turn. A group of teens carries out a cruel prank with disastrous consequences. And a cantankerous old man battles a mischievous trick-or-treat demon.
I got that right off the box. I like that he says a trick-or-treat demon. I've never heard that before. That's pretty cool.
I would not classify him as a demon, but we'll get to that later, I think.
Yeah? Does that come up?
Well, your creature classification.
Oh, I didn't write him down.
Oh, well, I think we can remember.
I let the whole team down. I have the book right in front of me. I can check it out.
Yeah. A lot of people might know Dylan Baker as he was going to be the lizard in the Spider-Man movies, because he was the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. He was Kurt Connors.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was going to be a lizard. That ended up being
Just a one-armed guy.
Reese Ifans.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Now, I first saw this movie with you on DVD, and Kathleen, you were there.
I was there.
And I was
You
super...
was pointing to his me, Colby.
Yeah, sorry. I forget no one can see this. And I remember being really excited when I saw the trailer for this in the movies, and then the fucking thing never came out.
And
then finally on DVD it shows up, and we were so excited.
Yeah.
And our excitement was
Justified,
for
it
sure.
was a good
It was a
movie.
great movie. Yeah. As a Halloween nut, of course. The best movie ever. It's one of the best Halloween theme movies, in my opinion, ever made.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen the movie yet, we're about to spoil the hell out of it, because all the best scenes are twists, and they're awesome.
Mm-hmm. We need to get like a little siren for the spoiler alert.
Just expect spoilers.
So yeah, you guys all like the movie?
Oh yeah. I was in the same boat as you. I saw this trailer tacked on to, I think it was 300.
300, yeah.
And
man, it was that long ago?
Yeah, I saw it and I was
like 10 years,
I
wasn't it?
wait for it to come out. And then it never did. Not to theaters anyway.
Yeah. I kept waiting for it.
Yeah.
2007, so I guess it was the longest time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, 2007 was when it came out finally, right?
No.
Or is that when it was...
2007 was like when 300 came out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was made then, but it didn't come out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
It was a kick-ass movie.
Oh, yeah.
Shall we move over to the terrifying trivia, Kathleen?
Sure. All right, we were talking a little bit about when this was supposed to come out and just didn't. But I guess the film was originally set for an October release in 2007. There was a couple of reasons why it didn't happen. The first one is that Saw 4 was released around the same time, and they didn't want to compete, which is crazy because I thought this movie was better than Saw.
They were totally
It's funny, like, that they didn't want to compete, so they made $0 in the box office.
Yeah, I think the plan was just to like push it back a little further, and then it just didn't happen.
As a fan of the Saw movies, I would have saw both.
Yeah, it seems like there's generally more than one Halloween movie that comes around at Halloween.
I usually only allow myself one movie per season, but...
And by the third Saw movie, I mean, really, were people still that excited for the sequel?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, I like it.
Every one of them was just chopping folks up in a different direction. It was beautiful. Now there's a dog.
I thought the first one was alright. The rest are...
The rest are just gore fest, which who doesn't enjoy that? Yeah. Another reason it didn't come out was that Superman Returns bombed, and it had the same writer and directors Michael Dougherty and Bryan Singer. So they didn't want to stigmatize this movie.
Bryan Singer as Superman had some kind of weird domino effect in Hollywood because it screwed up a lot of things. It screwed up the third X-Men movie. That's why we had Brett Ratner directing it instead of Bryan Singer.
Yeah, and didn't I heard that the reason Cyclops dies in like the first 5 minutes is because he said he was going to go be in the Superman movie, and so they're like, all right, we'll give you a shitty death then. You just show up in some fog and die.
Is that true? That's why I did that? Wow. Boy.
Who the hell was he in? I can't remember who he was.
He was
dating Lois Lane. He was like an office worker. I don't even know the character's name, but...
Yeah. Didn't they give Bryan Singer the X-Men franchise back?
Yeah,
for
the
future past.
But he was the one who was like, you know, pointed out how Superman looked just like Clark, and then everyone went, but it couldn't be. I'm like,
yeah.
That movie was not good.
But you know, regardless of everyone's feelings on Bryan Singer's X-Men and Superman,
it sucked too.
Trick or Treat.
Trick or Treat was
fucking awesome.
He gets some cool points for making it happen.
Yeah.
They announced. Well, it was a while ago, like 6 or 7 months ago, that there's going to be a Trick or Treat 2, and he's going to be a part of it, so God bless the man for that.
Yeah, I would love to see more. I just hope that they do a good job and make it as good as this one, which is no easy thing to do.
Sam's going to have asthma in the sequel?
I've missed the joke quite.
Because Superman's kid in the movie had asthma. And then super strength, which makes no sense.
You think he breathed?
That's how forgettable
Strong muscles, weak lungs.
Yeah.
All right, another tidbit. Most of the jack-o'-lanterns were made out of foam or ceramic, so on set the joke was that no pumpkins were harmed during the making of this film.
What about all the pumpkin
what about when
guts
they
and
shoot
Sam?
the pumpkin?
Yeah.
Nope.
Those were made out of
CG.
CG pumpkin guts.
The film is based on Michael Dougherty's animated short film, Season Greetings. But they didn't want to call it that when they released the movie because it sounds too Christmassy.
Yeah.
It does sound Christmassy.
I've never thought to use Season's Greeting on anything besides Christmas.
Yeah.
Like,
But that is
Season's Greetings is 4th of July.
But that is the start of the whole holiday season is Halloween because it goes Halloween.
For me, it's the
well,
beginning
and the
and
whole
the
movie
end.
is about the spirit of the holiday, which is kind of like usually you're hearing about the spirit of Christmas.
Yeah, that's true. I've seen that animation and it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Did you listen to the commentary on it? I guess
I don't think I did. No.
Do you think Brian Cox's character is supposed to be like Ebenezer Scrooge?
I think so. That's a strong parallel.
Yeah.
But he had this cool story about when he was animating it. He like cut his finger while he was drawing in some of the red, so like he just dabbed blood in there and drew it into the cell.
I've got a cool story like that too. I was in art class in the 8th grade and I was drawing a picture of the Daredevil, and I felt like a little like twinge in my nose, and I went like that, and blood shot out of my nose, and it looked like Daredevil had been shot in the leg.
Art and blood are connected. I made a font out of blood in college.
Really? Like your own blood?
Yeah. Yeah. I just kept jabbing my fingers and then writing all the letters. I should have got a cookie at the end.
You didn't get
Did you use like those little diabetes needles or what?
I just had like a safety pin or something.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very safe.
Well, because the
He also
teacher,
got hepatitis after that.
the teacher was like, "Make sure you guys try something original and think out of the box." And I'm like, "I'll write this shit in my blood," and I think by the letter C, I was like, "Fuck." What was I thinking? Because I had to jab it several times to get and get enough blood because I didn't want to just straight cut myself and bleed all over.
Yeah.
So it would like heal up, and I have to keep stabbing myself.
Should have gone about like a steak and just use beef blood.
I should have. That would have been the smart move. I was not smart.
Fake blood? You could have.
Yeah, there's a number of things. Yeah, looking back at it, but there is a font that I made that is my blood, so that's kind of cool.
So watch out in the future for Abe font.
Yeah,
Did you get a good grade?
I got an A. Yeah,
Nice.
He was very impressed and grossed out.
He's like, "Here's your paper."
Yeah, and it really was bloody paper.
Snapping on his gloves, like, good job, Abe.
Yeah, this guy named Thor, cool guy.
Could you not be cool with a name like Thor?
That's what I'm saying.
Alright, and then
That
just the
asshole
last
Thor.
thing I have is you know how you see characters from certain scenes running throughout other scenes in this movie. This one was just cool because I only noticed it tonight, and that is Miss Henderson, who played the drunk teacher that's dressed like the cat at that party. She's also a werewolf, and can be seen during the transformation scene.
Well, I'll be
I
didn't notice that either.
Yeah, I
But it
read
makes-
this online, so that's what made me look for it. And I was like, there she is.
It makes sense why the hot dog would be there then.
Oh, because
She moved her party over there. Yeah.
Another thing I caught this time around is that the killer principal, his kid was dressed exactly like Chucky, and he had him hold the knife, like Chucky's knife.
Oh, I didn't even notice
Son of a
that.
bitch, I didn't
He
know
had
that
the
either.
suspenders and had the red hair.
Now, I got one for you, and tell me if I'm reaching, because we just recently watched The Shining, but wasn't the scene in the background when the people in the costumes were getting it on, kind of like that scene in The Shining, where they opened the door and the people were getting it on?
Oh, yeah, there was the Barry that stood up
Yeah.
quick. Yeah, I missed that.
Yeah. So they've got a lot of little...
The film was goddamn
It's
genius.
a treasure trove.
yeah, just really awesome. And for a horror movie fan or a Halloween fan, it was just perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's completely put together like a comic book,
Yeah. Makes it all the more better.
yeah, it just speaks to
It
me.
was a gem.
I think
It says sexy things to me at night.
yeah, it's one of those great movies. It's bad that it didn't get a theatrical release, but at the same time, a lot of people didn't see it, so that's one of the fun ones to share because a lot of people have not.
You
That's a good
know,
point.
this it gives me hope though, because what was that 8 years ago? That movie came out, and they just now announced a Trick or Treat 2.
And 3.
Because is there gonna be 3?
Yeah, that's what he said. He
Awesome.
said he's gonna make a trilogy.
For
For better or worse, we'll see.
yeah, but a lot of people might not know this, but there's a big online movement to get a Dread sequel made.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe we just gotta wait it out 7 or 8 years. We'll get a Dread sequel.
And I don't know if you guys saw what happened with Veronica Mars on Kickstarter. They made their money and made their movie, and now Brian Fuller is trying to make a Pushing Daisies movie. Which I don't know if you guys are Pushing Daisies fans. I know you're not because you're an evil jerk.
I don't.
But
Again, he's
I would
pointing
give
at
him
me,
all my
Colby.
money. If they're like, donate money to Pushing Daisies, I would say, take all of my money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
it.
$5.
It's not like I'm not against Pushing Daisies.
You said it was
Enjoy
too
it.
whimsical and it hurt my
Was.
feelings.
Too whimsical for me.
You're going to hate
It's-
Cirque du Soleil then.
It's horror. It's horror whimsy, Colby. He talks to a shark attack victim in the shark. You have to see it. It's hilarious. You never saw Pushing Daisies?
No.
Oh, it's like the best.
Take season
frankly-
1 home with you.
Maybe
Is
I
that,
should.
is that all the trivia?
Yeah, we're spending the whole time talking about Pushing Daisies.
Frankly,
When this
Yeah,
shit's
that
done.
is all the trivia.
I'm not going to donate money to people to go push over flowers, okay?
Take it from the top and edit this whole part out. Go ahead.
Take 3. What's going on up there?
And now for the mathematically perverted, a segment we call the Colby count.
Okay. The Colby count, we count boobs and bodies. We count boobs individually. We've got, in this one, we've got 4 boobs and a Meet Your Monsters record, 20 bodies.
Nice.
That's pretty awesome.
That is good.
Yeah, thank you. Someone
You're
else.
welcome.
Yeah. One a booby. Two a booby. Yeah.
A full set.
Two a pair.
I think sometimes movies are kind of like socks in the dryers. You know, with movies, sometimes you only see one and you're wondering, who's the other one?
You always want to see the other one.
Just,
Just
This
to
one's missing.
Just
you
to
want to find
compare.
it.
Yeah. You want to know the symmetries there?
Yeah. Sometimes I have to go on Google and Google image search single boob just to get the balance right at the end of the movie. Like,
I need a right boob.
Put a mirror up to the television.
Right, dude.
Okay. Well, now it's time to defend the movie we love from some lazy, mean-spirited asshole who would rather talk shit than sit down and take Lloyd Kaufman advice and write their own damn movie. A segment we call the Critical Critique.
Okay. This critical critique is of Nick Clark. I don't have any credits from him. Do you know where he's from?
I don't know what...
Stupid villain.
Well, yeah, we pulled it off of Rotten Tomatoes. You can see it on Rotten Tomatoes. Okay, so here we go. Nick Clark says, as Halloween approaches, Warner Home Video has released the seasonal tie-in the hope a few unsuspecting souls may be tricked into buying it. Trick or Treat follows 4 Halloween tales over the fateful night in Winston Falls. The stories range from urban legend to serial killer and the supernatural, loosely held together by a pumpkin boy with a sack on his head. Well, way to give away the ending, dickhead.
Sure. Did he say a pumpkin boy?
Yeah, pumpkin boy with a sack on his head. For the people that didn't see in this, the sack he has is a burlap sack. It's not like a scrotum.
And he's not just like a boy; he's
Yeah.
a demon.
Yeah. He doesn't make boy-like sounds.
Well,
I
he's,
think
he's
a really
like a childlike.
I like
Child
to hope he
thing.
grows into a pumpkin adult.
Pumpkin man.
Yeah, he has to like work 9 to 5 before he can go out on Halloween killing everybody.
I gotta work this Halloween. I'm gonna kill your ass on Christmas Eve. There's no surprise this film has waited 2 years for release. The only shock is how Brian Cox and Anna Paquin ended up in something so atrocious. I gotta add in there, there's this thing that's like a joke in movie buff circles that Brian Cox is in every movie ever made.
He is in every movie.
So, like, it's not... But anyways, we'll come back. In trying to span so many genres, the film fails to hit the mark with any of them. The real problem, though, is it isn't scary. Writer-director Michael Dougherty plans a sequel. Now that's a horrific thought. That takes a lot of nerve to say a movie is atrocious.
And it definitely is the genre it's trying to be. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not...
Yeah.
I can tell you, as someone who enjoys the genre, watches a lot of the genre, it hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. As a horror fan, this is what I want to see in a horror movie.
Yeah.
And this guy, I don't know what the hell he's expecting, but...
Yeah. And there's no surprise the film is waited 2 years for release. There's like 100 horror movies a year, so like you're just kind of being a dick at that point, you know?
Yeah.
It kills me to
because-
hear reviews where they're talking about how they didn't do what they're trying to do. When this movie like clearly achieved every single thing it wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
Maybe it didn't fit into like a typical genre, but it wasn't meant to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is something that I think a lot of people criticizing these movies don't understand, is that not every horror movie is trying to frighten your socks off.
No.
A lot of them are just for fun. A lot of them are exploitative. They want boobs and monsters. They don't have to be The Exorcist every fucking time.
I can tell you that there's a tradition in my family where we get together and watch horror movies around Halloween. And I showed them this one after I saw it because I liked it so much. And they all loved it because it's kind of like, it's not so much about like, oh, spooky. It's like, it gets you in the spirit of Halloween. You're like, oh, werewolves and pumpkin monsters.
And look at all of the folklore of Halloween that they put in there. There's the razor blades in the candy, the ground up glass in the candy. There were so many like cool things. All of the Halloween stuff you're warned about, poison and
Yeah, and you know what we're talking about. He made it from the Michael Dougherty made it from an animation he made, and like there was all these like tie-ins back to the stories, and it was so interwoven and all this stuff. You could tell the guy put a lot of thought into it, you know. And so like, you know, the trash would call it atrocious. What an asshole, you know. And when he says that he plans a sequel, now that's a horrific thought. You're trashing the guy's work before it even comes out.
And it's not like he's giving any sort of constructive criticism. What can make this movie better? He's just talking shit because he's an asshole. I love, too, how you could get a sense of how everything was happening at once by when they ran into each other. Like, they walked past the women and the man and the woman in the beginning of the movie, walked past the werewolf girls.
She even bumps
in the
into
parade.
her.
Yeah, bumped in. And then the girl later hears the werewolves howling. So you could... If you think about it, you can go like, okay, while this was happening, and this was happening.
Yeah.
It's just really nice.
It was really well done.
Yeah.
You did a good job, Michael Dougherty.
And it's
got my heart, sir.
a really cool way of, instead of just showing these stories that are separated, like Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, which was really clever because the kid is just reading stories from a book before this bitch eats him, which is cool. He was trying to stall her. I don't know if you guys ever saw Tales from the Dark Side. But this was cool because it was all really one story, but every little level of that story was cool.
Yeah, and when they do that, it makes the world seem lived in and like bigger than just one person's story.
And it makes the season magical because there's so many crazy things happening all at one time. It's great. It's a great movie. let us move now to Matt's tropes and themes.
Oh man, I don't know. I might need you guys' help on this one.
Well,
I'm still trying to get what a trope is nailed down, so I don't think I can help you on that one. I still need your help.
It's hard with movies like this because they clearly recognize all the tropes of a horror and Halloween movie.
It's almost built on it.
Yeah,
it's almost just like we were saying, where there's poison in the candy or glass. It's all of these things, that kind of cliches, but
yeah, and another movie series that did that well, that plays on tropes, is like Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead.
Absolutely, yeah.
And those movies are great because they get that the joke isn't just a reference; they're taking the trope and then building on it to make it even better.
Hot Fuzz did it especially well. And even in the beginning, when he's talking about, have you ever jumped through the air while shooting two guns at the same time? Yeah. And then they both do it. It was amazing. Yeah, it was so good. Oh, this movie definitely used those tropes for all they could. We also like to add a segment called Pieces and Parts, in which everyone tells their favorite scene in the movie. Colby, what was your favorite
question mark? I wasn't sure if we were doing it or not.
I probably
switched it up.
I probably
like
would have forgotten.
Fresh here,
yeah.
Colby.
Go ahead and go with what's your favorite scene?
At the beginning of the movie, this little chunky kid with the afro puff, he's knocking over all the pumpkins
and the curly blonde hair.
Yeah, and the evil principal serial killer gives him poisoned candy, and this kid pukes on the steps for like 30 straight seconds. It's awesome.
That was pretty cool. Matt, what was your favorite?
Oh gosh, like the werewolf scene is definitely my favorite. Like the effects, the makeup.
I love how they were not changing so much as just taking their skin off.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And just the whole setup for that storyline was so great.
Yeah.
That'd be great if you had like acne or oily skin or something like that. You just rip it
off
and start over next.
I always wonder how they put it back on.
Well, I think it just it goes back to being their regular skin.
Yeah,
but it's
they just skin. Like shed.
Yeah, it could be. Jilly, did you have a favorite?
I don't know. I'll have to think about that for a minute.
Kathleen?
I also like the werewolf part, but I think the most is when the Steven is all jacked up laying on the ground and he's starting to see and realize what's happening. Just watching it fall in place is kind of cool.
That is a nice shot because you get kind of his point of view, and you go from, as he's looking around, you get to see there's dead bodies everywhere.
All crippled because his leg's broken from having
being thrown through the
Yeah. I liked that part and just the part where all the assholes got what was coming to them, like those kids who fucked with that girl.
Oh yeah.
And then they got destroyed.
Rhonda,
I enjoyed that.
Rhonda the handicap.
Idiot savant.
Idiot savant.
Yeah. My favorite scene was when the little kid was peeping at him through the dressing room. Even though it didn't show much, just as a perv myself. And if you look like in my comic, it's all about peeping. So I imagine there'll be a peeper in every issue I do at some point. Yeah, so I do love a good child spying at girls through a crack in the door. That shit cracks me up. And of course they're talking all raw about. Sounds like they're talking about eating ass, but they're talking about literally eating ass. Yeah,
like consuming ass.
It sounds like the girl's going like, "Oh, that girl," But
I didn't understand why Anna Paquin was like a virgin.
She had never eaten anyone before.
Right, but why?
I think
obviously it's not a necessary question, but I'm like 22.
Well, they were
and
trying to make it seem like she was a sexual virgin,
yeah.
So they were giving all the reasons of she's shy, she's blunt,
But I think Jillian was asking why did it take so long for her to eat someone? She's 22, right?
Yeah.
Did she ever get hungry?
Everybody does things in their own time.
Oh,
yeah. She's a late bloomer.
Maybe she had just been turned or something.
Yeah, it could be. Or maybe...
But she wasn't
I think she was born that way, yeah.
Yeah, because they talk about her mom. And her mom saying she was a runt of the litter, so...
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so how do you want to do the terror meter? Why don't you tell us the scariest movie you've seen and then the weakest movie you've seen?
Let me set this up.
All of the scary movies are the scariest movies I've ever seen.
My girlfriend Jilly is terrified of horror movies, and so we like to assess how terrifying this movie was by the Jilly terror meter.
I think most would be a 10, but this one was more playful. I put it at a 4.
So what's Abe said,
What's
a 10?
What would be a 10?
Like if you could
An
name
example?
Like we saw The Thing at the theater. Where did that fit?
That was pretty scary. That was like a jumpy one. I would say the scariest movie I ever saw, which is pathetic. It affected me the most was that one about the Tooth Fairy. Darkness Falls.
I was like, that one.
I slept with the light on for years after that. But I only watched the first scene because then I was out. So I would say this one was not that scary. I was like a 4.
Okay.
It had some good jumps, but I'm not going to be afraid to walk to my car tonight.
Because I personally put this, like, if I had a Coley Terminator, this would be like a half.
Yeah, it doesn't really,
wasn't scary at all.
It doesn't really blip as fear, but it sure is fun to watch.
Yeah, you know what was badass? I was thinking about this video I was talking about the effects from the werewolf scene. Damn it, they were puppets.
Yeah.
They weren't CGI. They were puppets, damn it.
They look great.
CG monsters aren't as scary.
No.
They just don't feel real.
You can always kind of tell, and as a person who loves CG, especially that dragon in the Hobbit 2.
Oh,
damn,
yeah.
That was awesome.
But you can always kind of see that it's not there, and that's cool. That's cool. It still works great, but I love a good practical effect.
I'm with Colby. I like, the practical effects are way better. I think it can be enhanced by CG, but if it's completely CG, it has to be really, really good.
Like Captain America, when it looks like he's got the scrawny little body.
Oh, yeah.
They did a good job.
That?
They just did a great job with that.
Yeah. Except I wasn't buying that his voice would be that deep if he's that scrawny.
Well, they probably didn't want to change him too much.
Yeah, be unrecognizable.
Yeah, I've always had the thought, and I heard an interview with Brian Henson recently where he had the same thought. He said, like, they should use, and I guess they did it for Where the Wild Things Are, use puppets, and then for, like, the little intricacies of the face and stuff like that, use the CG on the puppets. I think that's brilliant.
Aside from being a super depressing movie, Where the Wild Things Are, it was some of the best puppets, the best suits. They were so good.
Yeah.
That's Spike Jones.
Yeah. Boy, they were
He
good.
can do a movie.
And all monsters to boot.
And a pretty good Beastie Boys video.
Yeah, he can do all right with the Beastie Boy video. Okay, so we'll move on to the Quetzal Quotal. Did anyone get a good quote?
We'll save yours for last because I never know what yours is, and it's pretty awesome. So I'll go with mine. It was the Brian Cox's character. I can't remember what Krieger. Is that his name was?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was yelling at. He wasn't exactly sure what he was yelling at in the yard, but he yelled out, "I have an NRA membership in my pocket and a shotgun above the fireplace." Which I like how he went for the NRA membership first. Yeah. You know I'm batshit crazy.
What about you? Did you get one?
Yeah, mine was from the werewolf scene, and it was that turnaround moment where she's got the stalker pinned down, and she tells him, "My, what big eyes you have."
That was a good. Because he was scared.
Yeah.
He
He does have
the
pretty big
wolf.
eyes for a man.
And a non-existent nose when he had that mask on.
Yeah.
I had a quote. Well, I just felt like when the little pumpkin guy was going after him and he said, "You've got to be fucking kidding me." It's like that was real.
What
real
explained
quote.
what happened was his arm, his little pumpkin hand, he blew it off the shotgun. It came back and woke his, like, what you thought was his dead body back up and reattached itself.
Yeah.
Just magic in movie making this was.
Now, okay, so my quote came from, I believe the kid's name was Charlie, the kid dressed like a pirate, and he says, "Coach Taylor was in a hot dog costume butt fucking a pig."
That was a wild Halloween sex orgy.
Yeah, fantastic.
That ended up being a werewolf trap for a hot dog. Hot dog clad gym teacher.
That's all I got. Anybody else?
I think I'm good.
Let's go Glover to Shara.
You going for Glover tonight?
Glover.
It's going to be a good fight. That is the end of Meet Your Monsters for the week. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with me
You're welcome.
and watching
Thanks
this
for having us.
awesome movie.
We'll
Jilly
watch it next
especially
week.
enduring the horror. And thanks to the people at home who are listening to this. Mom. If you want to follow along, next week's movie will be Phantasm. See you then.
Oh, shit.
Nice.
Yeah, Phantasm.
Bye.
Your impersonation of Batman.
Yeah.
During the spookiest time of the year, there are a few guidelines all ghosts and goblins should follow.
This is the one night all sorts ruthless massacre.